Through the entirety of One Piece, Luffy has been in many fights which led to a lot of great finishers, so let's take a look at some of my favorite finishers that Luffy has delivered. Keep in mind that these are in no particular order, and this is just a small selection of my favorite finishers. Arlong Park is where people say One Piece starts to get really good, and that's understandable because in all of the East Blue Saga, Luffy's best finisher was against Arlong. The Arlong Park arc quickly established just how powerful the fishmen are compared to humans. A band of fishermen pirates effortlessly conquered a village, and leading the fishermen was none other than Arlong. He enslaved an entire village, killed Nami's mom, then struck a deal with Nami where she had to work for Arlong and accumulate 100 million berries if she wanted to buy back her village. After 8 years, Nami does manage to gather the berries to buy back her village, but through deception, Arlong causes her to lose that money in order to keep her his subordinate and draw maps. This mentally destroys Nami, and Luffy sees the pain she's going through. Luffy is rightfully upset, so he and the Straw Hats just roll into Arlong Park and give the fishmen the hands. Then, when Luffy battles Arlong in his tower, they're in the room where Nami was forced to draw maps. He understands the pain and trauma that this room gives Nami, so Luffy destroys it. Arlong doesn't deserve someone as skilled as Nami, and the icing on the cake is when Luffy uses his Gum Gum battle axe. The sheer anger and determination in Luffy's eyes as Arlong tears through his flesh is powerful. Luffy slams Arlong onto the floor and keeps going until he breaks through each floor, causing the tower to cave in on itself, and finally ending Arlong's tyranny. Another great one is against Bellamy. Upon Luffy and Bellamy's first meeting, Bellamy doesn't seem to think much of Luffy. He belittles Luffy and tries to start a fight with him for no reason. Bellamy thinks he's tough stuff because he has a bounty of 55 million, while the poster of Luffy he has shows him at 30 million. Bellamy feels comfortable wailing on Luffy and Zoro since they refuse to fight back. But we know that Luffy and Zoro can smoke him if they wanted to. Luffy had just defeated a warlord, but they're not going to start a fight over something so trivial, let alone give them the reaction they want. It wasn't until Bellamy roughed up Mont Blanc cricket that Luffy felt a genuine anger and demanded Bellamy give back the gold he stole. Now, Bellamy had just learned that Luffy had a bounty of 100 million, but he summed up Luffy and Zoro's bounties as fake in order to intimidate him. Bellamy says himself that he doesn't even know if Luffy can throw a punch since he refused to do anything back at the bar. The fight is so well done because we know Luffy is going to body Bellamy, but Bellamy and his crew are so convinced that Luffy is dog water. Bellamy continues to belittle Luffy, so what does Luffy do? He says, "Do I know how to throw a punch, you ask?" And with a single punch, he knocks him out cold. That wasn't even a named attack. That was just an ordinary punch. Luffy and Bellamy's beef during Jaya is just one of the constant reminders Shanks had on shaping Luffy into the person he is. If Luffy didn't meet Shanks, he would have fought Bellamy upon their first encounter for insulting him. But Shanks taught Luffy there is no reason to get worked up for someone treating him like dirt. Only when someone harms his friends will he take action. The payoff of finally seeing Bellamy get his just desserts was well worth it. Before Water 7, all of Luffy's toughest opponents were Logias. Then out comes Rob Lucci. I'll never forget when I first watched Rob Lucci low diff 2 of the strongest members of the Straw Hats. He finger pistols Luffy, then he yeets him out the building. At this point, nobody ever disrespected Luffy this hard since Crocodile. Then, he flings Zoro out of the building as well with a single kick. Water 7 and Enies Lobby are regarded as the best arcs amongst many fans for a good reason. Luffy also reveals the new techniques he learned, Gear 2nd and Gear 3rd. His rematch with Rob Lucci is honestly one of the best fights in One Piece. Stakes are at the highest they had ever been, and this is the first time Luffy fought someone who fights close quarters like him that pushes him this far. There's no Logias, no fancy Paramecias that fight using trickery, or no random abilities people just have in order to fight. It's just 2 people swapping hands for the most part. Rob Lucci dropped Luffy to the ground, and it's possible Luffy would have stayed down if it wasn't for Usopp. Luffy gets back up and declares he won't fall again. Rob Lucci almost made him fall a second time, but Luffy pours all of his energy into one final attack. Yes, you know what I'm talking about. Gum Gum Jet Gatling. Luffy is just pushing through with pure resolve, and he is just spamming this attack until Rob Lucci goes down. Look, not even all of his attacks are connecting. He's just throwing punches endlessly, and that's what I love about this scene. It's such a good finisher because Luffy knows that he has to win. If he doesn't win, it's over for him and his crew. They're facing a Buster Call, and a Rob Lucci straight up said he was going to murder all of Luffy's crew and save him for last. But there you have it, those are just some of my favorite finishers from Luffy. If you want to see more One Piece content, then be sure to subscribe. Also, comment below what is your favorite finishers from Luffy. I'll catch you in the next one. Later.